Hello, my beautiful readers and voyeurs. I hope you're all having a wonderful start to the new year. I'm doing well. If you've been following my regular blog or my Facebook page, you'll know that I've been dealing with carpal tunnel syndrome in my hands or wrists, which is why I had to delay the release of Played in December. But never fear, I'm giving you the whole draft of the Fire and Lie series for free on Wattpad. Then when it's finished, I'll do all of my rewrites and put it up on the regular channels, Amazon, iBooks, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, the whole kit and caboodle, it'll be there. So if you want to wait until then, when it's finished and purchase the finalised story, then that's up to you. But the purpose of putting it up on Wattpad is to at least let those of you who are dying to find out what happens next, to get your fix, so you know what's happening. And I'm trying to release those chapters weekly. And I'd love it if you could all be involved in the actual creative process with me. So you can comment at the end of each chapter and say what you think. We can have a lot of fun working out details of the story together if you think it should be going a different way. And we can interact a little and just share the whole process together. So if you're interested in that, you can find me on Wattpad as Lilliana Anderson, of course. And otherwise you can just keep an eye on my Facebook page or sign up for my monthly newsletter and you'll get updates that way. Okay, so that's the Fire and Lie series. Now I want to talk to you primarily about my new series Drawn to Fight, which I've been working on basically since Drawn finished. So for those of you that did read my Drawn series, you'll remember that you voted for the man that Henrietta should be with by purchasing the sequel featuring your favourite hero. And our winner by far was Damien. So, I guess we all love the redeemable bad boy. Now, Drawn to Fight is a spin-off following on from Redemption and my Christmas short story, which is actually inside the Drawn series bundle that you'll find on all ebook stores at the moment. But you can also find that individual story on my blog if you head on over there. Drawn to Fight features Evie, or Yvonne, as Damien insists on calling her, who you'll remember is Damien and Etta's oldest daughter. She popped up at the very end of Drawn and you see her in both sequels when she's only young. But now she's all grown up and she's getting into trouble of her own. She's an artist like her father and she's a badass fighter like both of her parents, of course, how could she not be? And she has a big thing for watching Ultimate Fighter, don't we all? We love those muscly men. This leads her to drag her friends out to this property where it's rumoured they have a Fight Club style of thing going down. She just wants to watch, but that's where she meets Zach Rivers, who is our hero of this story. He's a boy she used to go to school with, and he left school suddenly in year 10 and no one's heard from him until now. So, of course, he's always had a bit of a thing for Evie, and in all the chaos after the fight, he finally has the confidence to approach her, and he boldly seeks her out before she can leave, grabs her by the face, and kisses the life out of her. It's a bad idea on Zach's part because he has some pretty big secrets to protect. So bringing someone new into his life could be quite disastrous. He basically has a few hundred things on his plate that need to be carefully protected, and at 18 he's really struggling to do right by all those he really needs to look after. For the sake of those he's trying to protect, he does try to keep away from Evie, but fate likes to throw people together and see what happens, of course. And when these two do finally get together, there's that wonderful pull between them that makes it very hard for either of them to say no to what's happening. They're completely obsessed by each other, but it's a beautiful kind of obsession, the kind where they really need each other to feel whole. Now, being part of the Drawn series, we have a lot of emotion running through the book. Things are difficult for our main couple, and they're difficult for those around them as well. Evie begins to fight with her parents, whereas before they've always gotten along. And because I suppose they can see her going down a very similar path to what they were going down, and they don't really want her to date Zach and have the same struggles that they did. But Evie really wants to be there for him in his life as well as there for him when he fights. And Etta and Damien's desire to keep their daughter from repeating their same mistakes, is what really causes quite a point of contention between them all. Readers returning after the drawn series will love getting the chance to see Damien and Etta together in their new roles as parents and eventually as trainers. You're also going to get to see Evie's grandparents, Barry and Jan. So, they have a small role, not as big as they had in the drawn series, but you still get to see that everyone's together, everyone's, working on their relationships and, doing their best to live in their own version of a happily ever after. So Drawn to Fight, Zach and Evie will be the first in the Drawn to Fight series. It will follow some of the themes that we laid groundwork for in the first series. So we have our artists and we have our fighters, and throughout the series we'll circle around Damien's tattoo parlour, which is called Custom Flesh, and Henrietta's gym, which is called Fighting Fit. So there's our drawing and our fighting, but we're also focusing on the what do you do when you can't stay away idea from the original drawn, because I think it's important to explore stories between couples who really shouldn't be together, but they really can't seem to stop wanting each other. So they in turn are also drawn to each other in a way that they just can't stop. I love to watch them fight for each other. I love to watch them lose control and risk everything to be together. And I want to feel what they feel every step of the way. So that's why I've called it Drawn to Fight, because there's a lot more meaning to those two words than just art or fighting. There's the typical draw and the emotional fight that sends these couples towards their happy ever after. Being the first in a series, you'll be introduced to the characters of the next book. In the pages of Zach and Evie's story, you'll also meet Hugo and Meg. Now, Meg plays quite a large part in Zach and Evie's story, so you'll understand why this relationship becomes the topic of the next novel as you're reading. And also, as the series progresses, you're going to get to see each couple as their relationship continues as players in the background. So, of course, this means, which is very big for me, no love triangles are in the Drawn to Fight series. It's one couple. There's going to be no big choice at the end. It's just, one couple focusing on each other, and I'm not adding an extra person. So big shock from me, right? I always do love triangles. But this time, each novel is going to have their own happy ending. So you can read it on their own if you want to. If one interests you but one doesn't, then it's no big deal. You can jump on in at any point. And as I said, they're going to cycle around the gym and the tattoo parlour. So we'll have a good mix of characters between artists and fighters. And we'll also get to see past characters, of course, developing through the series. I'll be honest, it isn't crazy erotic like Drawn was, but there is this erotic feeling travelling through the story. It's a real coming-of-age story where both characters are young and learning to deal with emotions and situations that they've never had to deal with before now. And when they do get together, there's quite a lot of that, getting together, rude stuff, but they aren't Damien and Etta, so it's different, because I really wanted to be very sure that I didn't repeat Damien and Etta's relationship. There's similarities, but it's not the same thing over and over again, which is something that Damien and Etta have to understand when they're dealing with Evie and her love for Zach. I'll leave you with that. There's a lot in there for current fans and a lot in there for new readers, so if you like the sound of it, give it a go. It's releasing on February 10th on Amazon, and it's available now for pre-order on iBooks, Barnes & Noble and Kobo. So I'm going to include a link in the description to my website so you can easily get to those sites, and you can also check out the cover and maybe a couple of teasers for the book. So I just want to say thanks for listening to me go on and refer to my notes a bazillion times and try to read what I was trying to tell you all, and all my ums, of course. I can't have a video without saying 1,000 times, but I did it again. I really do appreciate you watching and reading my books, and I can't wait to share Zach and Evie with you. I'll see you all soon. Bye.